everybody. Welcome to the Knit Chat Cafe. My name's Noelle.
I'm Kelly.
And we are Knits and Pieces, a knitting podcast coming to you from Southwestern Ontario, Canada. We're mostly knitting. We do some other things too, but we're mostly knitting. And yeah, Carrie, we do sort of look like twins tonight.
We do. And this was totally planned. Totally planned.
Well, not the undershirt wasn't. The underneath shirt wasn't.
Is yours denim? No, you have a stripy. I have a denim.
We're basically almost the same color.
Same color. That was not planned. No,
was not planned. But the Riptide V-neck was planned because it just came out today. So we'll get into talking about that in a little bit. But first of all, we want to say a great big warm welcome to everybody that's joining us here. We look forward to every Tuesday night, and it's so nice to see so many people join in and to see the conversations that are going on behind the scenes. Like I come in here and read through them, and honestly, there's so many of them, I can't even get through them all before we start the podcast. But I think, Kelly, you saw that someone was in here just shortly after you posted the notice.
Joy was in here, I think, about 10 minutes after I set the stream up today. So I think it's becoming a new little game. Who can be in there first and who can get that first comment in. So it's fun. And yes. I think I posted, there were two in there chatting, and I forget the second name. Sorry. But anyway, pardon me?
Was it Frankie?
I think it was Frankie. Yes.
I think it was Frankie.
There's something in my eye, people. Sorry. Why does an eyelash wait until now to fall?
That just Murphy's Law. Anyway, I went through some of them, and we do have some people, and it's very nice that they join in and say hello because they're in a different time zone and won't actually be able to watch the actual show or join in because they'll watch tomorrow. So Charlotte was in here from Denmark. So hi, Charlotte. And she said hi to everybody. And so did Astrid from the Netherlands. And so did Petra from Hamburg. And then I'm not sure that I'm pronouncing this name right, but it's Miyush said that she couldn't join tonight. She had things that she had on the go, but she just wanted to let us know that she is 2,000 yards down.
Yay.
I know where it is. It's at my house. But anyways, congratulations for getting your stash down like that. I'm just a lost cause. I just might as well give up.
I know. Well, I mean, okay, here's the thing, friends. For every yard of stash that I deplete, I just turn around and I fill it back up again. I don't know. I try. I do try.
Yarn store day. We did have to support local.
We do. And it was local yarn store. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then there were some very good yarn sales online, and I felt like I had to do my bit there as well. So, yeah.
And my daughter-in-law also had got me some yarn, and it arrived too at the same time. And I'm like, wow, when it all comes at once, it's like a lot of yarn. But
yeah, more than 2,000 yards in.
I probably don't even want to add it up. But yeah. Anyway, it's it was, the week went by fast. It was, I don't know. I know that other places don't necessarily, you're all done your taxes, but this was final tax week for us. So you know, like I do, by the time I do my whole families and a couple of extended family, it seems like it just takes a while. So anyway, but they are all done. They are all gone. They're all done and in on time. And now we're hopefully good till next year.
I know, but do you remember the day, like when we were like both fully employed and deep in tax season? Do you remember how many tax returns we did in a year? Oh my goodness.
I know. Ridiculous. But anyway,
not sad to have that behind me.
I am not. That was absolutely exhausting doing that. I don't know how I did it for as many years as I did, but anyway.
I used to have dreams about it at night, doing tax returns in my sleep, and wake up in the morning only to find out, oh my gosh, I didn't really get it done. Now I still have to go to work and do it. But anyway, now
I just find that it's almost harder now because I'm not in it all the time. So you're always looking for, okay, what's new? Did I miss something? Did they change something? So anyway, it's done. We're good. We're like, you know, peace of mind till next year. So that was busy. And I've been enjoying a little bit more freedom since my foot's healed up. So I've been able to drive a little farther. So I did make it back down to my my daughter's house again on the weekend. So I went down on Friday, and Jacqueline and I went to a pottery show on the London Potters Guild. So I think it's a lot of local potters, but really nice. Jacqueline's gotten really into pottery, so it's kind of nice to go and see someone. She's as enthusiastic about pottery as we are about knitting. So really nice to go and see that. And I got these little earrings.
They're very cute.
I really like them. And they're actually surprisingly not
heavy.
Not heavy. No. So yeah. And I got a cute little, it's like a bowl that they kind of cinched in at the top, but then you can just lay like a single bloom in it. So it actually had a grape hyacinth in it, and you just need the one bloom, and you've got this little bit of flower. It's just really pretty. So
very pretty.
I have Jacqueline, you've got to learn to make some of those. So
I know Sarah went to that show too. She said she bought 2 mugs and a cup. And I'm just reading comments there. Leona at Antigo Knits is doing her taxes right now.
Okay. Well, you have till midnight.
Kim is also finishing her taxes while she's watching. Careful, Kim. Do not get too excited. We will not be held responsible for any mistakes you may make on that return if you get caught ogling the yarn instead of your taxes.
Yeah. So anyway, so that was fun. And then that was Saturday morning.
Yes.
And then I drove from Jacqueline's house to Little Red Mitten for local yarn store day. And that was very nice. That was nice to see everybody. And
yep. And that's where we met up with you and Julia with me. And let me just say, Julia is a bad influence. Okay. Julia.
I don't need any bad influences. I can influence myself quite easily. I think I'd already shopped by the time you guys got there.
I think you had, yes. It didn't take you very long. Yeah. And then we went out for a nice lunch, and it was a really lovely day. It was, it started out pretty rainy. So it was a good day to be traveling in a car. You didn't feel guilty about how I spent the rest of the non-rainy days between then and now is out working in the yard, in the garden, and trying to wake it all back up, and finding all those gardening muscles that we forget about throughout the winter. You know, the next day you wake up, your back is a little bit sore from all the bending and the lifting, and you think, wow, it didn't hurt this much last year, but I guess it did at the beginning. So I've been working away at that. And I don't know, you know, nothing else will grow in the winter, but the weeds still seem to grow in the winter. I don't know what it is. So there's that. And that brings us to today, and it's Tuesday. Today's a great day because we get to spend a little bit of time with all of our closest friends here.
That's right.
And if you're new, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. And don't forget, we are live. So we are watching the chat that's going on at the side of the screen. So if you have a device that has a keyboard and you want to chime in, and don't be nervous. If you haven't done it, don't be shy. Jump right in the conversation. And everybody in here is very, very friendly and very supportive. So.
Okay. So I actually do have some. Did you have any questions? You go through yours first in case some of yours are like mine.
I didn't mark anything down this week.
Okay. Well, okay. I have quite a few.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Let me see if I can help out.
So last week we were talking about when you're working with hand-dyed yarn and how to avoid the pooling. And one of our viewers did let me know that sometimes it depends on how the skein is dyed, but sometimes you may even have to split it into 3 to actually get it to look more even. So it just depends on how they've dyed that skein. And it depends what your feelings are and how you want your project to look, because everybody likes a different look. Like I know when I've been to I was at a workshop and it was Caitlin Hunter, she goes, just let the yarn do what it wants. So I can't do that. I want the yarn to do what I want. So,
I will admit I'm not a lover of a large pool either. I like to break the pool up. I don't like it to pool one color in a spot. But it also depends on the circumference of the project you're working on.
Yep.
Because sometimes it's almost planned pooling, the way it will go together. And that's a good thing.
Well,
I'm specifically thinking of the socks that you did last year. Was it puffin socks? The puffin?
Yes, because it looked like the helical striping.
Yeah. And that looked amazing. So, I mean, that was planned pooling. Now, I mean, if you were to spread that out on a hat.
That's right. It might not look the same.
It wouldn't look like that.
I do find that fleece artists is pretty good because their color runs are really short. So you don't end up with huge sections. But what I don't like is if you're using a tonal yarn and you can see you stop one skein and start the next. That's
Yeah.
really nice. The pooling in
Yeah.
socks, I don't even really mind, because sock yarn, I'm not as particular as mine being exact as what you are, unless it's an actual striping and it stripes, then I want them to match. But if it's just a variegated and there's a little bit of pooling, that doesn't bother me so much. I just do not like seeing the difference in tonal skeins where you stop one and start the next.
Right.
So, but anyway, so that was one thing to remember. And we talked about yeah,
Mark, you're not wrong. The pooling on the sweaters will always land right on the bust. You're exactly right, Mark. Yes. Murphy's Law. That should have been in there.
Yeah. So we were also talking a little bit about ripping out yarn, getting it back to its regular state. So a lot of people do use their Swift to wind it on. So if you've got a Swift, I mean, some people don't have a Swift, so obviously that won't work then. But if you do have a Swift, you could wind it on your Swift. And then others say it helps if you kind of just spray it with a spray bottle while you're doing it. And you probably could do that and then just kind of lightly hold your iron over it, as long as it doesn't have any like acrylic or nylon content in it, just like lightly for the steam, and that will. Or if you have a steamer, like a lot of people have a steamer, that would probably take the wrinkles out of it. So, and then we also talked a little bit about someone that brought their yarn, had it in a plastic bag, brought it outside, and the moisture, the condensation in the bag.
Right.
Well, I had a lovely letter from one of our viewers that was telling me, like, Clara Parks actually goes into a lot of detail about this. Okay. And yarns are actually, I just want to get the term right here. They are, didn't I write it down? Hygroscopic.
Okay.
Yes. Which means that they can absorb moisture up to 30% their weight in moisture. But when you feel that, it will still feel dry to the touch.
Which makes sense, because you use wool to wick moisture away from your body.
That's right. That's right. So in difference to cotton, which once cotton's wet, it feels wet.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But the wool, it can absorb that much and still feel dry, which is why it is a good kind of, I mean, obviously you're not going to go out in a drenching rain, but like just a little bit of rain, it kind of repels it. And that's the purpose of the lanolin in the sheep, because it keeps the sheep dry. And it also keeps the lanolin also keeps their fibers kind of separate from each other. So I actually could go into a lot more depth on the lanolin, because it was quite interesting. So like some sheep can have up to 35% of the weight of the fleece when they shear it can be lanolin. And then there was some controversy before, because they used to try to do things to breed the sheep to have more lanolin, because fleeces were sold unscoured, which meant all the lanolin content was still in them. So the heavier the fleece, the more money you got for the yarn. Okay. And merino sheep are one of the sheep that have an abundance of lanolin. And that is probably why the fleece stays so soft, because it's totally protected. And then if you look at a sheep like a Shetland or an Icelandic, they actually have very little lanolin. But then they're the type of sheep that have like the long guard hairs and the kind of undercoat. So a lot of times you'll hear that Shetland or Icelandic sheep, that they spin that fleece in the grease, which means they don't scour it first, because there's not a significant amount of lanolin in it. Whereas if you tried to spin something that had 35% lanolin in it, like, it would be, I think, a sticky mess. So I thought that was interesting. And we also talked about like soaking the yarn to get the lanolin out. And one thing that you do have to be careful of if you do that is once you get it in that water, you do not want to be moving that garment or that yarn or whatever you're doing around, because the things that promote felting are heat and agitation. So it's almost best if you can leave it there till it's totally cool, and then take it out and kind of get as much water out of it as possible. And some people say, even if you, and I've never tried that, but like getting a big colander and just putting your garment in it and kind of letting the moisture drip out of it, that I just roll mine in towels, because I think it would take a long time for all the moisture. So, but it's not one of my
if I have a delicate sweater that I'm blocking, that I know I really don't want to agitate, I think I've talked about this before. I do have a lingerie bag that you would wash things in, and I will drop the sweater in there from the sink so that I can hold it up and kind of like squeeze it out gently through that mesh bag without having to like squeeze the fiber at all.
Well, I never wring.
It just protects it. No.
Squeeze, right? Yeah. So you should never wring, because then you're putting stress on the fibers. But if you just like gently squeeze, and it's amazing actually when you roll it up in a towel and step on it, how much you actually do get out of that. And I mean, you can repeat, like change the towel and do it again, depending on what you're doing. So, okay, so let's see. I've still got a few more things here. Okay, and talking about all the information, like the Claret Parks information, there's a podcast called Junction Fiber Mill, and we actually met them.
Yes,
in Rhinebeck.
we
They were very
did.
lovely. And but if you go watch the podcast, they actually do talk a lot about processing and things that they go through. Like they actually own a mill, but they actually take you through and go through a lot of the processing and why certain things are done. So it's quite interesting. Okay, so then there was just a couple of other things. Someone had asked whether they would hold Holst Garn Super Soft with a Leo and Roxy like basics or an 80-20. I probably wouldn't. I might do it if I was holding the two yarns together for something, but I probably would not do it where one yarn was one and one was the other, simply because
if you were trying to stripe something or yes.
Yeah, because one's a superwash and one's not. So it's hard to say how it's going to behave when you block it, but you could do a test and block it and see if it comes out the way you want. Like there's no reason why you can't put any yarns together as long as you like what you're getting from it. Yeah, so I would say try. And I mean, a lot of times we do hold like a Holst Titicaca with a like a Leo and Roxy yarn or something, or
Absolutely.
a
mohair with a superwash
yarn. So,
which I'm going to show you later. Yes.
Yeah. So I probably wouldn't, because I like I don't know why. I just probably wouldn't, because to me, they have very different properties. And I'm talking if I'm doing it like maybe something that's striped or something that's where you're not holding the two yarns together. But that's just my own. Again, do your swatch, test it, and see if it comes out with what you
something
want.
that you like, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Then someone had a question. They had done a sock, and it was like a sampler block sock. So every so often you switched up the stitch pattern. One of the stitch patterns was quite loose, and it's making the socks fall down at that point. So did anybody have any ideas on what they could do other than ripping out the whole sock? I would maybe try a little bit of that elastic thread in maybe a couple of that, like maybe the top, the middle, and the bottom of that particular stitch pattern. I don't know whether
to say that, or is there any way that you could duplicate stitch any kind of a stitch pattern into it? Like, could you turn that stripe into something creative, sort of like, the way we, where you do visible mending?
Yep.
Is there something that you could do that would stand out on the sock, but it would look totally creative and make the sock just something special?
Well, yeah. And if you do the duplicate stitch, it should give it more structure there where you don't have all the slouch. So, but yeah, so I would try a couple of those things before I'd rip out the whole pair of socks. So, and then I had a question about what do we do casting stitches on under the arm? So when you're doing a sweater or something where you split for the where your sleeve separation is, and you're knitting that first round, and where you take the sleeve stitches off, you have to cast on extra stitches. What method do we use? What do you use?
For casting on or picking up?
No, for casting on.
Casting on, I always use that backward loop
I
method.
did do that till recently.
Yeah.
And now
I cast on 2 extra stitches too. Yeah. Always. So that I knit the extra stitch with the existing stitch always, and just so that I don't have a gap.
That's what I did. But
okay. And what have you learned?
Well, now I do the cable cast on. So you have to turn your work.
Oh, I've done that too. Way. You're right. Yeah.
And that way you can actually do the stitch, whatever the stitch is going to be. So you can do a knit stitch or a purl stitch. But remember, when you're going around, when you turn that to do it, you're at the back. So you've got to do opposite. If you need knit stitches, you need to do purl stitches. If you need purl stitches, you need to do knit stitches.
Didn't we do that in this vest? I just did this. Was it in the vest? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But I've done it under the for sweaters too.
Yeah, but I mean,
when you turn it, you're in the opposite direction. So
yes,
if you think you need all knit stitches, you've actually got to do the purl cast on. Or if you need purl stitches, you've got to do the knit cast on. But then you get a little bit more of a firm edge there, which is really nice when you go back to pick up stitches if you're doing a sleeve or something.
Yes, and in this case, where like I hear something talking.
Yeah, that was Siri.
Shh, Siri.
Stop it, Siri.
Here, where the stitches are going to be exposed, because you're not, in this case, like it was an integrated
Yes.
band around this sleeve. We knit this sleeve, this band right on.
Yep.
So these stitches that we did here with the cable cast on, they are going to show. So the cable cast on, we know it gives you that really great edge to start with, because we often use that for our neck edge when we've been casting on our sweaters. So yes, and it does. It definitely gives you like a little bit more meat to dig into if you had to pick stitches up from there.
Yeah.
Isabel says, yes, that darn cable cast on, it's good for everything. You're right, Isabel. Now that we've learned how to do it, it's awesome.
Yep. And I find doing that, you don't even need the extra stitch because you've got a firmer, edge, because those backward loops, like when you go around and you do that first row after you've done them, they're a pain to get your needle through and tighten them up. And anyway, so what else? What was another question? Oh yeah, someone wanted to know what we thought would be a good Drops Air alternative, or whether we've used it. I have not used Drops Air. Drops Air is a blown yarn. It is like an Aran weight. Just recently, it's funny that you would ask this. Just recently at Little Red Mitten,
we were looking at it on the weekend.
That's right. Juniper Moon Farms has a new yarn out, and it is called their cotton merino. It's 70% cotton, 30% merino. It is a blown yarn. I checked out the statistics on it, and the gauge range for it is 16 to 20. Drops Air is 17. Now, again, I haven't used it, so I don't know. Like, I'm a little bit leery of the blown yarn and how much it might pill. So,
see, my question was, or my thoughts were, with it being 30%, or no, was it only 30% merino and 70% cotton, or have it backwards?
No, it was 70% cotton, 30% merino.
Right. So with it only being 30% merino, that's what I think your pill factor comes from. That soft merino yarn.
But it's soft cotton can pill too.
Well, it can. You're not wrong. Well,
and
I thought that the sweater, that yarn would be beautiful for the thicker gauge of the Burmese Basic. I totally thought that as soon as I saw it. Kim is in here. She said that Woolfolk Luft is also a substitute for the Drops Air. Air or Wish? Air.
Yep. Okay, so that's Woolfolk Luft. And I think, I'm not sure what, I know the Camerose Snufnug is that type of yarn, but I'm not sure what weight it is.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Klaska is saying that she made her Celtic knot sweater. I also made that one, Klaska. I used Drops Alaska. She used Drops Air, and she loves it.
She said she loved it. Now, Sweater Weather said that Drops Air grows a lot during blocking.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And Jana is saying that a lot of people pair. Right. A lot of people pair the Drops Air with a mohair, and that holds down the pilling.
Yeah.
Then you just have the shedding.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'll wait till everybody else uses the new one from Juniper Moon Farm, and then I'll decide whether I want to use it or not. So, and then the second last thing, we talk about Holst yarns a lot. We like Holst yarns. We knit with Holst yarns a lot. A lot of times when we're knitting with them, we do end up either holding the yarn double or holding it with something else, which when we start talking about affordability, obviously, once you start holding a couple of yarns together, the cost of your yarn goes up. So I had a question about anything that we've done with Holst yarn held singly. And I have done several. Kelly, I don't know if you have. Like just single.
I don't think I have. I've always put it with something, I think.
Okay, so I'm going to just quickly show you a few, and I'll tell you how much yarn was actually used in them. So this first one is probably the first one I did in Super Soft, and this is the Winterfell by Skeyndir Knits. So this one total, now remember when I'm telling you the quantities, this is for my size, which is probably the first or the second size in the pattern. But for the Winterfell, the total was 185 grams. That includes the main color and the contrast color, for a total of I think it was 151 grams for the main color, and then the balance in the contrast colors. So saying that you're not buying a lot of yarn and the yarn is very cost effective, you also end up with a really nice light but warm sweater. Okay, this next one, and I think this was knit at a tighter gauge. So this is the Somerset by Beth McDonald Stone, and this used a total of 166 grams. So this is a little bit more crop than the other one. So again, like 166, we're not even talking like they basically.
It's not even 3 balls, yeah. And that's tiny little scraps of leftovers that you can add in there.
And then this one, which is like it's probably a longer sweater, and it's got quite balloony sleeves on it. So this is the Chalice Vine by Beth McDonald Stone, and this was a total of 233 grams, but that includes the hand spun up here. So the actual Holst Garn Super Soft was 208 grams. So again, if you buy a cone of Holst, like you're going to get 2 or 3 sweaters out of it. So, and then the Coast is even more. The Artisan Coast is even more. So this one is Tenya. Okay, this is Tenya by Caitlin Hunter, and this took 106 grams of Holst Garn Coast. So, and I knit this at a tighter gauge than Caitlin Hunter's pattern. And then this last one that I've got here that is also Coast, but it's a long sleeve. And this is Air by Amy Miller. And it does have like you eat up a lot of yarn in this lace because there's a lot of two togethers. But anyway, so that one took a total of, let's see here, 150 grams. So that was 3 cakes of the Holst. So there are lots of sweaters, lots of patterns that you can do with one or the other of those yarns held singly, and very cost effective. Another thing that I've done with it is the European Road Trip Shawl by Tricot. You can do that. You do have to make a little bit of modifications to make it a little shorter with 3 skeins. If you wanted to do the full, you could use 4 skeins of Coast and you would get the full shawl. And I guaranteed that is a whole lot more cost effective than I think it was Jade Sapphire Silk, which is like a cashmere linen blend. So the Coast, I mean, obviously you don't have the cashmere in it, but it gives you a very nice lightweight summer shawl in only 4 skeins of the yarn. So again, even though we're holding things together, there are lots of things that you can do with that yarn held.
Yes. Yeah.
Held singly.
Rosie is saying that she bought 4 cones 2 years ago, and she can't even tell you how many sweaters she's made. I guarantee you will probably grow tired of the color before you can get your way through a cone. So this is where it's great to have a friend, and you can share cones, pass them back and forth. They always come back. They don't come back empty.
No. So, and then the last question was, if you were wanting to know how many hours a day we knit. Well, I asked that to Ross, and Ross goes, it would probably be easier to tell them how many hours a day you don't knit. So anyway, I don't know, a lot. I get 4 hours in every morning.
Okay.
Because I'm up by 5 and I probably knit till about 9 before I go and work out. And then probably again later on in the evening. And if it's nice out, maybe outside in the afternoon. Every day is different. I don't know. But, like 4 full hours every morning, you get a lot done. So.
And I knit for maybe about 2 hours in the morning. If it's a rainy day, maybe a little bit longer before I get at my day. And then I will, on occasion, knit in the afternoon. You're right. If there's nothing else going on and I have that time, or if I'm meeting a friend for lunch or something like that, and I can bring knitting. And then we have like our, Saturday coffee shop knits and things like that throughout the week. But then always in the evening, at least 2 hours in the evening, I'll start knitting usually about 10 o'clock at night. I will guaranteed knit until about midnight, which is when I should go to bed. Sometimes, most times, I stay up much later than that. So it might be 1 o'clock. So there might be 3 hours of knitting, but it's usually almost every night unless we're out for the night. So yeah, that's a fair bit of knitting every day.
Yeah. I mean, I used to work full time and still knit. So now I figure, my working time can be my knitting time. But, every week's different. Depends on what's going on. Like this week, a lot of time was spent doing taxes. So yeah. But anyway. Okay. I think that's it for questions. So,
well, we are a half an hour in.
Yes, but they were woolly related questions.
They were definitely woolly related. Yes. Hopefully there was something in there that you gleaned a little bit of information from, and that helped out if the questions were for you. Oh dear. Julie says she just spilled half a cup of coffee on her blanket. Hopefully get cold water on it, Julie. That's what I would do. Blot it out with cold water. Spray it down with cold water and then spray it down again. Like just keep blotting it with cold water. Oh, okay. Stacy has a question before we move on. She is about to frog a sweater and reuse the yarn. Any pointers?
Just I would make sure that I got the kinks out of it before I knit with it again. That's all. So I would probably rewind it into a hank. I would wash it, dry it, and then reuse, because even though you will get the kinks blocked out, I think it'll affect your gauge. I think it's better to use the yarn straight for a new project. So I would probably definitely wash it first.
Well, you're ahead of me, because I would just cake it back up and let it sit until I decided to use it again. Unless you're planning to go right back at it again, because I know myself, if I'm frogging something, I'm probably frustrated. I'm not going to touch that yarn again for a while. If I'm being bluntly honest, it's going to sit there for a while before I ever pick it up. So I would let it sit there kinky, and I will deal with it at that time. Does anybody know how much the cardboard core in the Holst cones weigh? Yes, we think we do. I think they're about 40 grams. Are they not?
I can't remember weighing one, but I do think they're about 40. If anybody else knows.
In all honesty, I've never got to the end of one, Helene, so I don't really know. But
I think I have, but that comes to mind. But I also have empty weaving cones, so I don't know.
Yes. So I always weigh my cone of Holst when I get it. And I know that they're supposed to be 500-gram cones. So I've had cones that are easily like 620 grams. So even if I take 40 grams off, that's still 80 grams over. It's an entire extra little cake on that cone of yarn. So cake and a half. Okay.
We should move on, because
we should
move on. Okay. So what are we wearing?
The Riptide Slipover V-neck version. The Riptide pattern got a little glow up from Jen. You always knew she was going to have to do it. There were too many people asking. I mean, I love that crew neck vest. I wear the heck out of it, but it was always there that wouldn't it be cool if it were a V-neck? And friends, the work she put into it, let me tell you, it was no small task. It was almost as if she had to rewrite the entire pattern. The back remains the same, but the front was clearly like written from scratch. And we test knit it for her. And let me just say, there were very few issues that anybody in the test group had to come up with and go back, and they were minute. She's one heck of a pattern writer. Let me just say that. And I could not love this more. I love the V-neck on this one. So do you want to talk about yours first?
Sure. I did show mine last week, but I do have a couple of pictures. So mine is done in Holst Garn Coast, but it is held double. And it is, I did the size 2, and I love it. And it's actually, I've been able to wear it. I could wear it either way. I could either wear it with a shirt underneath it, or I could wear it just as a summer top. So I do have, there's a picture just with the shirt underneath it. So it's long enough that the split, I did do the split in it. I don't know if I have a picture that shows the split. Probably not.
You can see it there a bit.
The split comes right to my hip bone. So even if you wear it just there, you can see it there. Even if I wear it just with like a pair of shorts or a pair of pants for the summer, I can wear the top just as a summer top. It doesn't necessarily have to be just as a vest. So, and the Holst Garn Coast is perfect for that, because the Host is 45% cotton, 55% lamb's wool. This is the color River, and I used less than 3 cakes of it, and that was holding it double. So, and I didn't make any modifications to the pattern. It's basically just as is. Now, mind you, the pattern is written like to knit for your own length to here, but I think I'm pretty close to what her actual length was before I split for the hem. So yeah, but I want to make another one as another summer top, because I don't have that many like sleeveless kind of summer tops. And then it's bonus if you can actually wear it as a slip over as well.
And I knit mine. I don't have any photos of it yet because I did just finish it. I was later starting the test, and I actually haven't blocked this yet. So I will wait and get some photos, but I used the Drops soft tweed for mine, which is a mix, a tweed classic. It's alpaca and merino wool. I've used this before for a sweater, and I had this in stash. I love this color. This color is their Kirsch Sorbet, and it's color number 14. So yeah, I knit mine exactly to pattern as well. I've already knit the crew neck version. This one feels a little bit different just because the yarn feels different. And I know that it feels very different when I block it because I actually did a swatch this time and I blocked it. And I know that my other sweater that I have in this feels much thinner. This feels quite thick right now. And I know it's just because it needs a good blocking. So I can report back on that, and I will definitely get some photos for you. But again, it's just a fabulous pattern. And the very best thing is she had sort of been on the fence about how she was going to release this. Good news for those of you that already have a pattern is that she is including it. You are getting it as an option. She did write some other things into the pattern as well. With the split, she did one with a straight hem as well. So that's another option that you have. And also, if you wanted to make it a little bit more cropped and fitted, maybe like to wear with a dress or something like that, and you really want it to be fitted, she put some waist shaping in there too, if you want to take advantage of that. So there's so many options now with the riptide vest. You can do the crew neck, you can do the V-neck, you can do the waist shaping, you can do a split hem, you can do a straight hem. All of that one pattern. And so that was released today, and she sent me a message just before we came on here. She was pretty excited because it's in the hot right now on Ravelry, and she was worried that it was just going to be like a nothing release and nobody would even notice that it had the V-neck option added to it. But I think people have noticed. People have been waiting for this, Jen. I know they have. And Jen has also given us a little treat for all of you too.
Okay, so we are going to give away 2 copies of the Riptide Slipover, as well as, okay, so for 2 people tonight, they are going to get a copy of the Riptide Slipover and a copy of her 135 Riptide shawl, which is the shawl pattern that you can make in the little kerchief weight, or a 2 skein one, or a 3 skein bigger shawl. So all we want you to do is, I'll just add this up here. We want you to type in hashtag JST for JST Knitwear. So all you have to do is type in hashtag JST, and we will choose 2 winners tonight, and we will pass your information along to Jen, and she will get those patterns to you. So Kelly and I have both also done the 135 shawl. We've done the kerchief, like the little kerchief weight in it, or the little like 1 skein scarf in it. I would love to do one of the other ones because it's such a fun pattern to do, and I think it would make a beautiful larger shawl. So,
and I did the gloves to go with my little scarf.
Yep.
We did that in the spark. I did mine in the sparkle yarn from the Knitting Loft. You did as well, though, didn't you? Because you gave a set away.
Yes, I did as a Christmas. Yes. That's why I have to knit myself another one, because I gave mine away. So
yeah.
Anyway, so we can still talk while we kind of just let that go for a few minutes. And for anybody that's watching, we will have another set of those patterns that we will give away, or we will draw someone next week before the start of the podcast. And so someone that's watching later, or if you go in after, if you don't win, we will pick from the comments. And I guess let's see in the comments, let's just have you tell us what you think you might knit first, the V-neck version or the round neck version. Like Kelly and I both have both. And I love both. I'm liking this one a little bit more now, simply because of the fabric that it's in and knowing that I can still wear it going forward. Whereas my other one is done in 100% wool, and it's definitely more of a like fall winter type garment. Plus, I think when I did my other one, I used a different yarn weight, and I made the armholes a little lower. So that one I really couldn't wear just as a top. I would just wear it as a slip over. So yeah, so we'll let that go just for another minute or so, and we don't have to get into them yet. But Kelly, did you have any finished objects for this week?
I do. I have 3.
Okay,
but
so
I wanted to say too, just really how wearable this vest is. I wear it, the first one, everybody knows I made the first one in that very bright orange. And although I really, really like the orange, I kept thinking as I was making it, what the heck am I going to wear this thing with? The only thing that was coming to mind was the classic white shirt. And honestly, I have put that orange vest on with so many things in my closet, and the amount of orange that has somehow made its way into my wardrobe in the last couple of months has been quite astounding as well. So when I was knitting this one in this kind of berry tone, I thought, oh, this is going to have even more wear. And it does. I was holding it up tonight when I was trying to figure out what shirt I wanted to wear with it. I thought, my goodness, it's going to have so much wear. And I just wanted to say too, I was out, something that my daughter and daughter-in-law have kind of gotten me into is just like checking out thrift stores lately. So I was out thrifting a couple of weeks ago, and I had on the orange vest over top of a denim dress, cute little denim dress, like a tiered denim dress. I had some tall boots on, and I had this like sweater cardigan on over top. And I was in there thrifting, and this adorable young girl comes by and she says hello. She was working there. And she says hello. And I'm like, oh, hi. And she's like, oh, you looking for anything special today? And I said, no, just, browsing. And off she goes. Well, about 10 minutes later, she walks by again, she passes me, and she goes, I just had to come by and say, I just really like this vibe you have going on. And I thought, I just made my day. It really made my day. And I thought, here I am, this age, and looking all hip and trendy in my knitted vest and my tall boots and, pairing it with a cute little dress. So it just goes to show that you can just take one item and just like it can be versatile, and you can wear it so many different ways. And this is the perfect staple vest to have in your wardrobe for sure. Okay. We still have Haley, style icon Kelly. Oh yeah, you know it, Haley. Style icon. Hardly, but it still feels good. It still felt good.
Okay, so we're going to draw.
Good luck, everyone.
Okay, Katie. Congratulations, Katie. So we will put the information up for you to contact us after, but Katie's our first winner. So we're going to go in and we're going to do one more draw so that we eventually get to the knitting in this program.
Okay. I know, it's not often I have 3 finished projects, and they're all knitting this week too, friends. And a huge thank you to Jen as well for gifting these patterns.
Did I do something wrong again?
Yep, you did.
Oh no. Okay. Do I have to go in and put it in again?
Yep. You were just supposed to pick redraw. Do we want to do 2 after the show? How about that?
Okay.
Instead of 2 at the giveaway?
Okay.
So what you'll do is after.
What did I do?
Who put Noelle at the controls? That's what I want to know. There we go. We're back.
Okay, this is bad.
Stop touching buttons. Okay, so we are.
No. You talk and I'll go in and put it in again. Because we said we were going to do 2, so it'll only take a minute.
All right. We're going to do a draw again, friends. So if you didn't win the first time, I wonder, would it not already collect those comments?
That's what I mean. Okay, just a minute.
Karen wants to know if I was wearing the clogs. No, Karen, I was wearing some tall boots that day. But, there's hardly a day that I don't go out without the clogs. And it was funny. Today, I got a message on Instagram that Lotta used one of my photos. Lotta is the clogs that I wear from Sweden. And they used one of my pictures in their stories today and tagged it. And it was something about the caption was like socks with clogs. I think socks with clogs are a great idea. I put that as a poll in my Instagram a couple of weeks ago. And I think I got a 93% thumbs up. There were like 7% of the people that thought, no, it was not a look. So me and the 93% people in the world are going to keep wearing our socks with our clogs. You're still working the way
Yep.
there?
But we just need everybody to type it in again. Some people are already doing it. We'll give you another couple of minutes. We don't need to pull it up, but if you just type in, we'll start talking about while they're doing it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So we'll start talking about our finished objects.
Okay. Well, finished object number 1 for me was obviously this vest. Okay. Finished. Oh, I just wanted to see something that disappeared.
I didn't touch it.
Okay. No. We're good. We're all good. Sorry. Technical difficulties. This is when if you only had like a back of show stage manager, wouldn't our lives be so much easier?
I don't know what I do. Like I didn't see the thing. I just see it on. Anyway, whatever. I'll get it figured out.
Okay. So finished object number. How many do you have, firstly?
I have 3.
You have 3? Okay. Yeah. 3. All right. Well, then you start because I've only got 2 more, right?
Okay. Okay. So this one is my DK socks. So these are my Njord socks. And this is a pattern by Nancy Wheeler. And this is a DK weight yarn. This yarn is Rico Superba Skywave 6. I think it's 6 fattig, which I think means 6 plies. But anyway, so it is 6. And so you can see they're not perfectly matched, but I'm totally okay with that. I love the stitch pattern. It's kind of worked with drop stitches. And then she's also got it goes down the back of the sock, which is kind of nice because it keeps your interest. They come just like above my ankle bone, which is kind of nice. And actually, you know what? They really don't feel super thick, which is good because like I said, the only DK weight socks that I've knit before have been holding 2
the dog hair
together, which I think feels thicker.
Yes. Yeah, so absolutely it does.
This is just, and I did weigh it. This yarn comes in 150 gram ball. This took 51 grams. So I've got enough if I want to knit like a full length pair of socks. I've got enough left in that skein to knit a full length pair of socks. So
it's a really neutral color. You could knit Ross a pair of those too.
Yeah.
And then you could have matching socks. That would be fun.
Yeah. I'm not sure you would think that was that much fun. But anyways, really, really nice pattern. The pattern is longer, so you could definitely knit the pattern longer. And yeah, and it's not a really long row repeat, so it's easy to memorize the pattern and not have to have the pattern with you when you're knitting the socks. So I like something that I can remember so that if I'm going somewhere, I don't have to have the pattern or the iPad open in front of me. Okay, so that was finished number 1.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Do we want to do the draw?
Sure.
Okay, let's pull that back up. We have 265 entries. Let's try this again. Who's the winner? Who's the winner?
Jane and
Ron. Jane can knit the vest and Ron can knit the shawl.
There you go.
So okay. How you'll want to reach out to us, I should have had this ready to go, sorry, is knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com. You can reach out to us and we will make sure that your information gets passed along to Jen and she will get those patterns to you. And for all of you that didn't have an opportunity to win, as Noelle said, we're going to give away 1 set of those same patterns this week after the show. So when the show is over, you can go in down below and leave a comment while you're in there, giving your thumbs up. Although I don't know if we deserve one tonight with all the technical difficulties. But anyway, please leave a comment telling us which of Jen's patterns you're going to knit first, whether it be the little scarf or the shawl or the vest. Is that what you said? Or did you say crew neck or V-neck?
Crew neck or V-neck. Tell us whatever you want to tell us.
Tell us whatever you want to tell us. Tell us how much you love Jen's pattern. That would be awesome.
Jane and Ron said that she thinks Jane will knit both. So.
Are we drunk? I don't know what's the problem tonight.
No. Oh, I forgot I even had water.
Okay.
Moving on. Okay. Next finished object, Kelly.
Next finished object. Okay. Let me start with these. I finished my Titty Gaga socks, which I ended up having to knit the second one twice. There we go. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, they are gorgeous. I love the yarn.
2 done there. This was using the Rose Hill yarns, and the colorway is Chickadee Trail. And she has these nice little sets where she does 50 grams of the main and 20 grams of the mini. And this is what I had left. I had that left. I don't know that I've ever gotten that close to an end before, but I have lots left of the little coordinating pink. So there's probably enough there to do something else with for sure. These are gorgeous. This was part of the patterns that Nancy did this year for the breast cancer fundraiser. And she references that these here are supposed to look like our boobies. And I'm not sure what the shell pattern is supposed to look like, but if I take it off the blocker, so it's got this going down the back.
Yeah.
Okay. And then this is the front of the sock. Really pretty, really, really pretty pattern. And it was a lot of fun to knit. So why did I have to knit it twice? Because I finished the first sock and then I cast on the second one right away. And I had kind of gotten the pattern in my head. I wasn't even thinking about it. So I started right into the pattern. So I did this for the front of the sock and I did that for the back of the sock. So I would have had like a fully patterned sock. And I know nobody will see that sock because it's going to be underneath pants anyway. But honestly, I swear I would feel those stitches every single time I wore that sock. So I had the whole leg done. I had to take it out and start over and get the back of the sock correct. I just love this yarn. I love the yarn. I love the color. And even though we don't have to wear socks that much anymore, like it's getting warmer weather, I still, in my little sock bin, I've been washing socks for 3 days. That's another thing too. I obviously got very far behind in the sock washing. And so yeah, I've been hard at that anyway. But the nice thing about this weather is I blocked 2 pairs of socks. Well, I block these to show them off because they look really pretty when they're blocked. I don't normally block my socks, but I only have 1 pair of sock blockers that fit my foot. And I got 2 pairs done in the same day because the weather was so warm. I just stuck them outside. That was that super windy day. Yeah. They dried really, really quick, but yeah, these are beautiful, beautiful socks. Okay. Next for you.
My next ones are, let me just find.
You're right, Haley. If the job is worth doing, it is worth doing well and right. You're right.
Okay. So I'm finished my Gandalf socks.
They turned out so good.
Enormous socks. So these are one of my Christmas socks for 2024. So this is Gandalf. This is a pattern by Claire Ellen. I knit them in Barocco vintage sock in the smoke colorway. And this, I just think it was called Lane Faves. It's a 75-25 sock yarn that I bought because it was an ivory color and I knew it would be good for using for heels and toes. So modifications on the sock, it's an 88 stitch sock. And when I got down to the heel, I changed the pattern and I decreased the stitches here to 36, which is normally what I would have for one of the guys' heels. Then continued with the sole of the foot with 36 stitches, the top of the foot still in the 44 stitches. So then I put in my regular afterthought heel. That's not really afterthought because you think about where you're going to put it before you do it. It's a forethought after heel. And I changed it because we did the talking about how our heels are not really triangular shaped like we do the wedge, or not wedge shaped. So I changed it and did more of a rounded heel. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, Nancy was talking to us about that when she was on a couple of weeks ago. She's not wrong. That's really clever.
And I mean, I don't know yet because I'm not wearing these, but I'll report back after Christmas how it went over. So then I did have to do, I wanted to do a full repeat before I got to the toe of the sock. So then when I got to the toe of the sock, I actually just did a little bit of improvisation on how I normally do my rounded toe. So
to make it a little shorter.
Make it a little shorter. It wasn't quite like how you do it, but I changed it a little just to make it a little bit shorter so it wouldn't be quite so long. I also, before I started the toe, decreased the stitches at the top of on the first row so that they would match the 36 stitches on the back of the toe. And I'm glad they're done.
I bet.
But I'm very happy with them. I love the stiff definition that you get out of that Barocco vintage. Like it just looks,
it is really nice.
Amazing. So yeah, I'm like I said, 88 stitches. I'm hoping none of the rest of the guys' socks are 88 stitches. I'm doing a girl's pair next just for a break. But yeah. Anyway, so that was my second FO.
Okay. And your second. Yep. Okay. And my third FO is the Shorty Heel Tab socks by Larissa Gregorin. I finished them. I love them. Whoops. Got them going the wrong way so you can't see the fancy stitches I put on them. There's two. I can't do this right. What am I missing here? Hang on a second. There we go. That's what I'm trying to do. So what I did have this a second in here. I put, if I get back to the right place, I've got a little video that I took today because I get a lot of questions from people when we talk about knitting, like a shorty sock. There's a lot of comments like, oh, I've knit them before. They don't stay on my feet well. But this was a really, really, really unique pattern in that you do a little short row tab at the back, right? And then you sort of, this is not a paid for pattern. It's a free pattern. So I can talk about it in detail. So you knit that and then you short row this and then you stitch it down. So you get a really beautiful finish inside the sock as well when you tack that down. And then you get this nice sort of thick band. So what I did today, just for the sake of kind of showing you, I did this quick little 20 little second video showing the socks so you can see the fit and how well they do stay up at the ankle. And with that extra little bit of cushioning, they'll go right up, like your shoe would come right up there behind that if you were wearing like a running shoe or whatnot. So as you can see, they are a great fit, a really good fit. So I'm thrilled with them. And as I said, this is a free pattern. The yarn that I used is Ginger Snap Zest Fingering, and it is the colorway Dragonfly. Mm-hmm. And then the brown or honey color is Treasure Knit Pick Stroll. Somebody said that when I had posted these on Instagram the other day, they said this reminds them of grape jelly and peanut butter sandwiches. Yeah. And I can't stop thinking about that now. So every time I look at them, that's what I think of. But so I put in a little bit of a shell stitch in the stripes because I only had 50 grams of this. And normally 50 grams would be definitely enough to do a pair of shorties. But because you're actually knitting a fair chunk of the cuff, I was going to run a little bit short. And then it's a short row heel. It's a really clever pattern. And for a free pattern, it's very detailed. And she even all through the pattern gives you, there are lots of little QR codes in there that you can grab with your camera on your phone. And so if there's something going on in the pattern that like a technique that maybe you had questions of, there's lots of video tutorials attached to the pattern. So it's amazing value for $0.
Yeah.
They look a lot of the pattern, and I really appreciate that. But these are not going to be my last pair. My daughter was pretty chuffed about them too. She's like, oh, I really like those socks. So now I'm thinking, now what can I do more fun things with them? Because I'm not just a plain stockinette sock person. So I think the next ones I cast on, I've got some really kind of like crazy yarn that I think would be good, but it has some black in it. I think it also has some hot pink. So I'll go one way or the other. And I think what I'll do is actually do the cuff in a contrast color and then do a contrasting toe as well. But I love these. These are a really, really good fit. And I highly, highly recommend, especially now for summer, this is the perfect time to get going.
I like having that. Like even when I never wear like my running shoes without having a pair of socks on in them. Mm-hmm. Like your feet get too sweaty. So so it's nice to have even just little ones that have something that come up above the top of the shoe.
Yeah.
So they're cute. I want to make a pair of those too, but I have so many other things that I have to knit first.
Oh, well.
So, okay. So I have one more finish. So these are quite bright.
Where are my sunglasses?
So these are my little ruffled socks. I'll show some pictures because it's probably easier to see the pictures than have it blow out on the screen like that. So there's a picture of the socks. So they just there, an ankle sock too, but there's like about an inch of rib first. And then you've got the row where you kind of integrate the stitches to make the ruffle, and then another inch of rib underneath before you start into the pattern on the foot of the sock. It's got a heel flap and gusset for the heel and just plain stocking stitch on the bottom of the foot. And then there's a picture of how they look inside my my white sneakers. So well, of course, this is my favorite. This is my favorite color, like, and I love ruffles. So they hit all those boxes. So I'm quite happy with them. This color is Pink Flamenco by Leo and Roxy. It is their natural sock, and then the ruffle is the Leo and Roxy Pink Flamenco, but this is their silk mohair. So after I finished my vest number 2 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, I still had leftovers in this. So I wanted a pair of socks so I can wear like my white jeans rolled up and then my white sneakers with my socks and my vest. And yeah, I really like the ruffle. I want to do more. I do want like a cream or a white pair, but I'll have to put some detailed pattern in here because it'll be boring knitting them. But I'm
very cute
with the way it turned out. And they, like I said, these again, because you've got the inch before, and then you've still got rib underneath where the ruffle is. So they kind of suck your ankle in or suck in around your ankle so that they stay up. So you do, like when I did the ruffle, you go up in size. So it's done on a 3.25 millimeter needle. And then the rest of the sock, because it's a fingering weight yarn, is just done on a 2.25 millimeter needle. So that's finish number 3. So.
Okay. Couple of questions while we've gone through here. Sharon wants to know if that shorty sock could be modified to knit toe up. I don't see why not. You could. You definitely could. Yeah, I think you could. Like, yes, you can.
Okay.
You will knit up. You will do all the same things. You will just do them in reverse. And Sherry's asking if I did a provisional cast on. No, you do not do a provisional cast on. You just cast on and you knit stockinette until you get to the short rows. And then the short row is what creates the shaping. And Eileen says that she started them and she had a little difficulty in row 10 and 11. It said to purl and it seemed like she should be knitting. And she wants to know what I think she did wrong. Eileen, I don't think you did anything wrong because look at these. I did those purl rows. I followed the pattern as well. I do think it's a mistake because when you look at everybody else's socks, these were a knit all the way up. There was no purl bumps in there, but I left the purl bumps in there because, well, it was the first one that I did. And I'm like, I don't know what this is all about. But then when I got it finished, I think, yeah, definitely that should have been knit. But in this case, I'm completely fine with that because I feel like since the purl is on the outside, it's just going to be like one more thing that your shoe hugs up against and it kind of makes that little ridge. So there's no possible way it could slip. But I definitely do think that pattern should have said knit. So I think you were on track there. And the next pair that I do, I will be knitting row 10 and 11 as well.
Okay. Okay, so Deborah wanted to know what my sneakers were. They are Birkenstocks and totally recommend. They are so comfortable. They have the Birkenstock footbed inside the sneaker and they're an all leather on the outside. And yeah, I love them. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You haven't, that's it? Are we done for finishes? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. How many whips?
Really none.
I just have 2 that I'm working on that I'm actually working on.
Well, I have, since I've cleaned up all my sock bags, the only ones I have left going now are the ones that I'm making for my husband, his Kawasaki cables. I didn't knit on them this week, but they are on my agenda to pick back up. I have cast the second one on, but I haven't gotten very far. That's all I have. So these are the next ones I have to finish. I have one more languishing sock that I knit last year. I knit the whole sock and never went back and knit the second one. So I feel like I am definitely going to go back and do that. It's the Petty Harbor socks. I may cast those on, or the second sock. And then, yes, I know I still have my herding cats. I have one sock done and I've got a bag full of cats in there waiting to be knit up. So maybe I'll put those on the needles. But you know what? Here's the thing. There's like so many sock patterns lately that I want to be knitting. Like I definitely want to cast on another pair of these. And so I don't know, maybe those won't get worked on this week. I can't say they will for sure, but that's sort of where I'm headed. Before you show what you're working on, this poor Maria has asked us this question 3 times now. And I have it starred to go back to Maria. But anyway, I'm new at caking and she wants to know, how do we know how many grams we have on our cake? And when do you know when to stop if you want to cake a 100-gram ball, winding it on a winding machine? So here's what you can do. On a winding machine, you can weigh your cone first, right? And then, so like, let's say your cone is 500 grams. Well, then you start winding. And as you're winding down, put that cone back on your scale. And then when it gets down to 400 grams, you know that you've got 100 grams on your cake. That would be probably the most efficient way to do it. Myself, when I'm winding those cakes, I rarely wind them. I know kind of in my head what 100 grams kind of looks like. And so I'll just wind a cake to the capacity of my winder. It doesn't really matter to me if it's the right size or not, because the yarn splices together so easily if you're talking about like Holst yarn. But definitely weigh the cone, and then as you're winding, keep weighing the cone, and that would be your surest way to get down to the right amount.
Yep.
Okay, back to you, Noelle.
Okay, so I'm still working on my Burmese Basic 28 by Beth McDonald Stone, but I actually tried it on. I only have about another inch or so to go before the rib. So last week I hadn't split yet. So I have split and I've gone down this far down the.
It looks awesome. I love it. I really like it.
This is Holst Garn Coast held single, right? They're all stripes, but it's all held single. So the colors I'm using, the cream color is called Dove. The purpley color is Plum. The blue is Sapphire. And the greenish color is Honeydew. So yeah, and it's going to be short sleeved. I've tried it on. It's really good fit. It's going to make a really nice like summer short sleeve t-shirt. So I haven't decided yet whether I want to do a split hem or a regular hem. I'll wait till I get another inch done and then I'll try it on again and see if I can make up my mind. Who knows? Maybe I'll even do a sleeve first before I decide. But yeah.
Are you striping the sleeves or are you doing them straight color?
No, they're going to get.
Oh no, they're short, aren't they? They're short sleeves.
Short, they're just going to continue in whatever stripe is the next color in the stripe sequence. So I used the stripe sequence generator to come up with the stripe sequence, and it's kind of fun. And then you don't even need a pattern in front of you. I've already completed the sequence once, so I just kind of look back at what I've done to know how many rows of whatever color I have to do next. So that's fun. And again, the Holst Coast single. It's a little bit of a pain to work with because it's so fine. Like it's not a pain, but I'm on a 3mm needle. It's
slow going. It's a slow go.
It really does make a beautiful fabric. So anyway, so that, and then my last whip, which I just started, is Renaissance by Eleanor Mortensen. So it's funny because last week I was saying how I had knitting paralysis and I couldn't decide what I wanted to knit next and what I was going to put on my needles. And I finally decided on something, but I wanted to cast on more. Well, when we finished the podcast that week and I went to check on my email, I had a message from Little Red Mitten that they wanted me to do a sample for Knit City Toronto. And I'm like, knitting paralysis ended. I know what I'm going to knit now. So
exactly.
Nice to have someone choose for me. So I am doing the Renaissance by Eleanor Mortensen, and I am doing it in the Leo and Roxy 80/20 sock yarn. So my main color is this, and this is called Peony. And then the contrast color is this, and this is called Parchment. So it definitely,
beautiful.
They look really far apart there, but it's going to be subtle. So
it is. It's going to be really subtle because that pink is very tonal.
It is. So I think that right at the moment, it's kind of hard to see the pattern, but as I get more into it, more of the pattern is starting to.
You know what though, on camera, it's quite contrasted.
Yeah.
It always shows up more on camera. Yes.
So anyways, it's fun. I love color work. So it's fun. This is a little bit, I'll bring the pattern back up again, but it's a little bit of a challenge because you do have a lot of spaces, like up here at the top. Of course, you can't see my mouse, but anyway, up at the top and then down at the bottom, you can see where there's wide stretches of space where you don't have any contrasting color. So I am doing the ladder back jacquard technique. So I'll kind of show you on the back here. So all those, like where you see those vertical lines, that's where I have put in the ladder back jacquard. So I can carry that yarn across, and it's not, that fabric is not joined to my knitting. Like it's a separate fabric from my knitting. It's another, like a separate layer. So you can carry it and you don't get any of the contrast color peek through. So where the challenge is kind of deciding where am I going to put those so that they're going to go up the farthest and I don't have to keep shifting them. So I'm already at the point now from the top ones that I've actually knit them all back in. So I don't have any more. So I will have to do that again when I get down to the bottom. To the bottom. But it's a super easy technique. I will link, I think I use Suzanne Bryan's video for it. Super easy technique. Well worth it to keep your like floats from getting way too long at the back. And you can see up here at the very first ones, I did kind of have to keep the floats long. And that was because you've got these little dots of color, but then in between it, you've got plain rows, right?
Right.
So if you've got plain rows of the main, you can't catch that contrast color. So when you've got that other stitch on it, it would be 2 rows where you wouldn't knit it. So that would pull your knitting in like that. So you couldn't really put any of the stitches for the ladder back jacquard in there. You had to wait till you got through that part where you've got main color and contrast color on every row. So, but once you get the ladder back set up, it's really easy to do. And it just kind of flows into the rhythm of your knitting. So next week, hopefully I'll be done the color work part of it next week because I have to have it done for Knit City Toronto, which is
really close. Really close.
2 weeks. It's more than 2 weeks.
No, but I mean, it's really close. I feel like, wow, we've got a lot to accomplish before then. And we're so excited to be going.
Anyway. Yep. So
that'll be a great trip.
I will be working on that a lot. That and my Burmy Basic, because I believe that it's going to be released next week too. So those will be my 2 main focal points this week. And I will be starting my, I know Isabel had asked before if I knew what my next Lord of the Rings socks was going to be. And yes, here is a picture. And it is the Smaug socks by Claire Ellen. Now this is the dragon, but he's really a dragon in the Hobbit, but you know, it's all sort of in the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy thing. So I did actually manage to get, this has got like a diagonal braid that goes across the front of the sock. So it looks really interesting. I'm really, really excited to start knitting that and see just what the pattern entails. So it, like I said, it will be a smaller sock this time. So that's good. And when I was at Little Red Mitten for local yarn store day, or actually the night before, I ended up getting this yarn to do it in. Because is that not the perfect dragonfire color?
It looks to me like dragonfire.
Unfortunately, it's called zinnias. And I said to Jolene, I said, you know, I really wish this was called like dragonfire or dragon's breath or something. And she goes, oh, zinnia, that means that in Elvish language. I'm like, perfect. But I just thought I wanted that really orangey red kind of color for that. And I think that'll work out perfect for it. So this goes into one of my acquisitions. This is Malabrigo Ultimate Sock, which I have never used before. I've used the regular sock, which is 100% wool, but this one is called their Ultimate Sock, and it is, I do believe it has nylon in it. It is 75% merino, 25% nylon. So
Joy's asking if that is a paid pattern, the Smaug socks.
Yes, it is. Yep. So,
and Diane wants to know, what size needle are you using for coast when you hold it single?
3 millimeter. So I don't know what that is in US 4, maybe 3. I don't know. It's 3 millimeter anyway. So.
Oh, I might be able to help you out. Hold on. It's nope, I can't help you out.
No.
Maybe I can. Hold on.
Tiny. That's right, Sarah. It's tiny.
Tiny. A 2, I think.
Well, I know that a 1 is 2.25.
It's in between there. See this right there? It says 2, but there's
saying 2. Lots of people are saying 2.5.
Nothing to go with it. So, but a 2.5 is a millimeter measurement.
No, some of the US sizes are half sizes.
I know, but it would be a 2.5, not a 2.5.
Well, they put 2.5.
Okay. I'm on knit paralysis. Other than socks are all I can think about. So I bought some yarn this weekend that should break that paralysis and get me back into knitting. Is that it for your works in progress?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So we went to the Little Red Mitten, and as I mentioned, Julia is a bad influence. Get this stuff out. Because she got talking about, oh goodness, she got talking about a sweater, and she bought yarn for a sweater that I've had in my queue for the longest time. Longest time. So, and they had a sale. Everything was 20% off. How could I not? So here's what we're on the wrong screen. There we go. The quill tee. I've had this one in my for a long time. And this is by Tiff Nealon. So, and I'm going to make this more orange, friends. Look at this. This is going to be the sweater.
Oh, that's pretty.
And that will be the color work.
Oh, nice. That'll look nice.
Yeah, I think so. Whoops, upside down. So the sweater calls for a fingering weight. This is classified. This is not classified as a very light DK.
Yes. But
it's strange. It's not. I know.
I think I knitted at 23 or 24 stitches.
And I'm getting 22 down a needle size. So the pattern calls you, which I would never knit it in this needle size anyway. I think the pattern calls for a 4 millimeter needle on the stockinette on a fingering. I would never knit that anyway. So I went down to a 3.5 needle, which is kind of a comfort level. I swatched, friends. I swatched. Check it out. It's pretty. And I'm getting 22. So the pattern calls for 24. So I've got to do the math, but I'm also getting wonky row gauge. So I think the pattern is calling for 30 rows over 4 inches. I'm getting 32, 33. So what I think I will do, I'm carrying on. I will just adjust the width, but what I will do, you see that there's, again, I'm using my mouse. You can't see my mouse.
No.
In this pattern, between the rows in the pattern work, was what that means by me getting more rows per 4 inches. That means that my yoke, that patterned yoke, is going to be shorter than the 8.5 inches that it calls for. So what I will do, like in that color work pattern, there's lots of opportunity in there to knit some rows between patterns. So like up at the top there where you see 2 rows of color, I'll probably add in a couple of rows, and I'll just do that sort of sporadically, a row here and a row there. You won't really notice it in the finished.
Color work lengthens your row gauge.
Pardon me?
Color work lengthens your row gauge.
Well, I still don't think I'm going to get, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, when you get started in it, I'd measure, because I know when I did that Marie Wallen, I was picking up around here, because I actually went and looked, because they were telling me to pick up the same number of stitches. And normally you pick up less. Oh, wait, does that mean it's shorter or longer? It does something to it, either shorter or longer. So what was that? Now I can't remember. Okay, would that be shorter? Okay, I'll have to revisit that and talk about it next week. But I thought that it lengthened it because your stitches kind of, no, maybe they get shorter. I don't know.
But okay,
I know here's changes. Like color work can change your row gauge. I can't remember whether.
But here's the thing: she does give you the gauge in everything. in 3 things. She gives you the gauge in stockinette. She gives you the gauge in color work. And in my stockinette gauge, because that's the swatch I did, she said 30 and I'm getting 32, 33. So that tells me right off the hop, even if the color work gets a little bit longer, I'm probably still going to be off with this yarn. So what I will do is just add some rows in there. It will not be a problem in this pattern, but I really, really like this yarn. This, so I've used the remix, the regular remix, which is a worsted weight. I haven't had an opportunity yet to use the light. And this is 30% nylon, 27% cotton, 24% acrylic, 10% silk, 9% linen. So I know there's a lot of people that use this for their summer knits. So I know that I'll be able to make this work, but I absolutely love these colors together. I think this will be gorgeous. And I have a denim dress that I love to wear, a long denim dress. And I think this will look really good with that. So thank you, Julia, for corrupting me. I almost made it out of there with only what I planned to get, but Julia. Okay. I've got one more thing, but do you want to show something?
Sure. When we were at Little Red Mitten, they had that. I have done this tea already, but not for me, as a sample for them. And I always thought I was going to do one for me, and with the sale on. And so anyway, so I got these neons. It's to do the Friday tea, because every time I see that tea, I just love it. And I want to have one, but who knows if I'll get to it this year. But just even looking at these colors together makes me happy. So that was from Little Red Mitten. And the other thing I got from Little Red Mitten was a sock set. So this is the Yarn Therapist. It is a self-striping. So it's got like yellows and orange and a corally color, and then gray in between it all, and then the gray for the mini. And it is an 80-20, and there's 90 grams altogether. So I don't know what the makeup is, but there's definitely enough there for a pair of socks for me, because I never use 90 grams for a pair of socks. So
no.
And then I got a pattern book. So this is kids patterns. This is Sandin's Garn. It's for their Saisu brand, but this is all kids patterns. But the largest size in the kids patterns are big enough to fit me. So I'll be able to do some of the patterns if I want to. There is color work. There is texture. Like that's like an overall Gansey. There's a really cute little vest that I'd like to do for the girls. Let's see if I can find it here. It's like a little bubble stitch pattern.
It's very cute. Very cute.
And then there's just like a little striped sweater. So there's lots of cute patterns in here. And Sandin's Garn, the Saisu, they actually say it's like fingering, but really it's more like a sport weight. So.
Well, I bought it as a fingering weight. So it's 4 socks. So we'll see where that ends up with me. I could probably make DK socks almost with it.
Okay. But. So that's everything that I got at Little Red Mitten.
Okay. I got something else there too. But before we say that, I just want to send out some healing vibes to Catherine.
Okay.
Catherine says she's in the hospital, but her husband brought her in some knitting tonight. So she's been trying to knit on some simple socks and carry on along with us. So we really hope that you're feeling better soon, Catherine. We want to have you back healthy and happy. And sending healing vibes your way for sure.
Yeah, well, Catherine.
Yes. So the next thing that I bought is I had this from Kitchener. This is the Leo and Roxy mohair. And this was a one-of-a-kind dye. Happy accident, I guess. And I have 2 skeins of it. And I love that it's sort of like this eggplanty purple, but it's got these blues in here as well. So I went on a mission on Saturday. I wanted to get something to go with this. And what I ended up getting to go with it is their McSteamy in the fingering. Look at how good that looks. So I didn't go eggplant and I didn't go blue. That's what I thought I was looking for, but every way I looked at this was just the perfect color. And here's what I'm thinking of doing. This is not an anytime soon knit. This is just something that I want to have tucked away or get started and then work on. And I want to knit the Elton pullover by Joji Locatelli. And I'm not a person who normally likes a boxy shaped sweater, but I actually have one, not one that I knit, but one like a store-bought boxy sweater in a lightweight fabric. And I have to say, I really do like it. So I thought that I would really like this. And I like how this is so dark and moody, and this will be more probably of a like a fall knit type thing. But there's nothing saying that I couldn't get started on this and kind of just have this, for when you want to pick up something simple and easy, coffee shop knitting, that type of thing. Because once you get down past the sleeves, you're literally just going round and round, alternating out the mohair and the regular yarn. So I think these are really pretty, and I think it's going to look really good together.
Okay, Teresa wanted to know if the colors in the sweater sample at Little Red Mitten. Yes, those are identical to the colors in the sweater at Little Red Mitten. So they actually, I think they had it for last year's Knit City and had kits together. And I think they might have them again at this year, but I don't know that for sure. So, okay, so I'll show you the yarn that my drops yarn that Rachel got for me came. So I'm still working on I've only done a few rows on it. I'm still working on my Lauder cardigan, but I really did like the daisy yarn. So Rachel got me another sweater quantity of the daisy. So this is drop daisy. It's 100% non-superwash merino. This color is called pistachio ice cream. So it's really like a pale minty green. And I haven't decided whether I want to do a cardigan or a sweater in it. I was thinking maybe like the Storm sweater by Petite Knits, because I think it'll really show off all the texture in that pattern, would look really nice. So that was one. And then she also got me, this one I have not ever tried. This is Drops Lima. So Lima,
nice. I like those colors.
Yeah, Lima is another like DK weight yarn, but this one it's a wool and alpaca mix. It is, does it say 80 or 65% wool, 35% alpaca. So these colors are,
that looks just like this color.
Sort of, yep. This color is called Blush Mix.
That's what I think this one is. Yeah.
And then this one is called Pearl Gray. So I've got 7 of these and 3 of these. There is a sweater by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I can't remember what number sweater it is, but it is broken rib, and it's mostly this color and then has just like small stripes of the gray all the way through it. And it's a really pretty sweater. So that's what I think I want to do with that. So
Jane says that she has the Elton pattern and she has yarn ready to go and she hasn't started it yet. Jane, let's start this together. Let's get our Eltons done for the fall. I also ordered some yarn from the Knitting Loft on their big sale weekend as well. And it's not here yet. So, but I think you ordered and you got yours.
Yeah, mine's here.
And you ordered after me. I don't get it. Courtright is so much further to go. A whole 20 minutes for that delivery driver.
Okay, so this is the first one. So this is the Mesa. So this is the Knitting Loft Mesa. I got 4 of these. It is a sport weight, 100% Peruvian yarn. So I haven't decided for sure yet. I just got enough. So if I wanted to do a cardigan, I could do a cardigan or a pullover. But who knows? Could end up being 2 things. I don't know. I have worked with the Mesa and I really like it. So that was the first thing I got there. And then for some reason, I mean, I've got all these socks to knit, but I really want to knit like some self-striping socks. But I've never tried the Cozy Knitter before. So I got a couple of colors from her. So this one I think is going to be, I think these ones I am going to make socks for Ross. This is called Woodland Realm. And it's kind of like got brown, burgundy, green, cream with the brown mini. And these are 80-20. But there is 115 grams total. So there's 85 grams. So that still should be enough to do a man's sock with almost 30 grams of the mini. So if it was
I love her colorways. Really nice.
So that one will be for him. And then this one is called Northern Lights. So it's just like this blue. And I thought this will look super nice with jeans. And then in here, it's got the blue, it's got a pink,
very nice.
And mint. So that'll be on the needle someday. and then the last thing I got there, I had really wanted this book. And you've already got this book. This is Embroidery on Knits. And yeah, I really want to try, especially on some of the kids' things, like just to do like a plain sweater. And Sarah, had brought a sweater that she did in the kids and had done some embroidery on it. It was just beautiful. And it just like makes a wonderful, like one of a kind garment. And then sometimes even if it's just like a tiny little thing, like I did a sweater for Penelope last year and it just had some little tiny daisies on the top, but it just, that little tiny thing makes a difference. So this book comes, and at the back of it, you've got an envelope that's got all of the patterns that you can trace onto the paper that you can put on to do it, that once you soak it, the paper dissolves. Yeah.
And I have a massive roll of that, so don't buy any.
Okay. So yeah.
I ordered some and it comes so much. There's
gorgeous like patterns in here for like cardigans that have like, you know, quite extensive, but then there's also just a lot of simpler ones. And I was watching something the other day and someone like even just at the top, if you do a plain sock, like just doing a little tiny flower or something at the top of the sock.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to, you know, why not have another craft, right?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah. With all of our spare time. Absolutely.
Anyway. So I'm going to try not to buy anything till Knit City, Toronto.
Well, you don't have long to go. You really don't.
Anyway, I got to knit faster. Really a lot faster.
I don't know. I don't know how much faster I can knit. I think I get well, I don't know. I feel like I get a fair bit accomplished, but we always want more. And sometimes, you know, it's nice to, I don't know, it would be better if we could just be kinder with ourselves and say, oh, look at all that I got done. But, you know, I don't know, we just want to get more things done. And I have a boatload of sewing sitting here that I'm staring at on the table that I want to get done. And so I've got some of those things that I want to do before Knit City. And I keep needing to ask, Isabel, are you coming to Knit City or not? We don't know.
I have to text her back. She was wondering, and I don't know, this is the question that I don't know, which we would like to find out, whether or not the Western Harbor Castle has the type of package that they had in Montreal where they kind of have
the concierge lounge.
I don't know. I hadn't seen anything on it. I don't know if they do or not. Maybe I'll have to contact the hotel and just see if they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
we are
let us know.
Looking so forward to that. We're looking forward to seeing our friends that we only get to see at these big festivals. This is pretty much like our first big festival of the year. This is kind of kicking it off for the next several months. We've got something going on every single month. I don't know if you've thought that out, but we actually do. We've got something going on every single month. Oh, she is coming. Yay, Isabel. And anyway, so
yay. I know, we're so looking forward to seeing everybody.
I know. And please, 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 if you are there and you see us, because remember, you know what we look like. We may not know what you look like if we haven't met you yet. So please stop us and say hello. We would love to say hello with you. And we really, truly mean that. We're not just saying it and not expecting you to do it. We would love to meet you if you're there, if you can make it. It's a wonderful event. We've not been disappointed. I've been to Vancouver and Montreal. Noelle's been to Montreal. Amanda and Fiona, must be time to go. I'm starting to yawn. Amanda and Fiona really know how to take care of you when you're there. It's a great, always great venue. So they haven't had one in Toronto yet. This is the sort of the beginning or the first one in Toronto. So we're excited to see what this venue has in store for us. And just looking forward to all the things. It's exciting to go. Yes, I love to go and I love to see the yarn and I get inspired, but honestly, I'm way more happy just being there and being social and seeing people than I am about the yarn. I have yarn. Lord knows I don't need more yarn, but I love getting together with friends. And I think that's probably the best part for me, for sure. Yes. Okay.
So we should probably wrap this up. Anyway, the only thing, this is April 30th. So the only thing that is super important before next week is that this is the last day for your socks for April. So with our sock knit along, if you've got any socks that you haven't put in there, get them in tonight. So we will have prizes for that next week for the April sock draw. The other knit alongs, the Smash the Stash, and our Advent one, those are ongoing. So we'll go into them a little bit more next week. But for right now, if you've got any socks that are almost done, stay up and finish them. No, I'm just kidding. Because if you don't get them finished, they can go in and they'll count as May. But
yeah.
But we will draw for the socks next week. So
yes. Hi, Helen. I remember meeting you in Montreal. Absolutely. Yes. And we did take a picture together. Fantastic. I remember that. So, okay, there's lots of people in here that are coming to Toronto. Please, I mean it. Wear a big sign. We should get KnitChat signs. KnitChat, KnitChat. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, and don't forget the comment down below. Leave a comment down below.
If you did not win tonight and you would like a chance to win the Riptide Slipover and the Riptide 135 from Jennifer Shields Toland, then once this video goes up, and you can put a comment underneath, go in, put a comment underneath, tell us what you want to knit first. If you win the pattern, what you want to knit first, the crew neck, the V-neck, or one of the Riptide 135 patterns. They're all amazing. So you can just tell us which one you think you're going to cast on first, and we will have a draw for that next week. I'll probably draw it just before we go live. So, if you watch this week, just get that comment in there.
Yes. And don't forget, if you have anything throughout the week, if you do have questions that you want us to try to get an answer for you for next week or whatnot, or anything that you want to reach out and tell us, knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com is the easiest place to reach us, where we regularly check. And if you want to follow along on what we're doing in between the Knit Chat weeks, these are our names down at the bottom of the screen right now, where you'll find us on Instagram. It's where I'm most socially active. And so you can just get some little behind the scenes things in between. Okay.
So take care, everyone. We hope everyone has a great week, and we see you all back here next week in the Knit Chat Cafe. Okay. Happy knitting.